This is Entrepreneur Studio with Patrick Bryant, brought to you by SC Biz News, the Harbor Entrepreneur Center, Code and Trust, trusted co-founders in tech, and our sponsor, Harbor Wealth Management Group.
Pete Barth is a staple in Greenville. We're here today at the Next Center, and a building you helped birth and created an accelerator inside of it. You then ultimately take the company to how many markets around the U.S. in code schools?
25.
25 code schools around the United States. It was a big scale moment for you. What year did all that kind of start? How did you get to a code school idea? What was the impetus?
Yeah, so we in 2012, actually in 2011, we kind of decided to take the plunge. I decided to take the plunge on starting an accelerator.
But the accelerator was really just to help businesses get cranking, seed, invest in them, and then grow them.
Yep.
As a for-profit.
As a for-profit,
Yep.
we were putting $25,000 into some seed stage companies, helping them scale and find other capital, and hopefully stay in Greenville. So we decided to do that in 2011. Ran the first class in 2012. That was a ton of fun. We learned a lot along the way. We were really kind of in this as a community, so pulled in a ton of local mentors, but actually reached out kind of nationally and brought a bunch of folks home who were from South Carolina and figured out who they'd give back and mentor these companies who were coming through Greenville, which was amazing, and we had a great time. And out of that process, we realized these companies, if they were going to be successful here, needed more engineering talent than we just had kind of walking around the street in Greenville. So after that first class, we reached out to universities. We went to Clemson, University of South Carolina, and a number of other kind of smaller schools in the area, and said, hey, like the things our startups are using, you're not teaching. You're teaching different technologies, and would you be open to?
But you had been a lifelong coder. I mean,
yes.
You knew exactly what they needed from a
right. Yeah. So I've been an engineer my whole career up until that point. Still teaching valid things, but more kind of large company, kind of older technologies, still completely viable, but not what the new startups are building. So we went and asked, can we contribute to curriculum? Can we help? Can we mentor? And they both basically told us to take a hike.
we have our curriculum. Thank you.
That's right.
So we appreciate the feedback.
That's right. So really, out of necessity, for our own portfolio companies, we started kicking around the idea, well, should we create a way to train engineers? But weren't to the point of pulling the trigger on that. And kind of then some serendipity happened. And then a good friend of mine here in Greenville was interested in starting a Coder Dojo. It's a kids coding program.
Yeah. Get kids together and help them learn about code and some hardware stuff too, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was really just letting them play with different technologies, essentially.
Yep. And so Mason Stewart was the guy who was doing that, and he wanted to teach kids coding through video games. And so we found Scratch from MIT's Media Lab and really set up kind of this night of kind of show and tell. Like every night we'll build something that you can see and touch and run. And at the end of the night, the kids all get up in the front and like show what they built, and it was super fun. But Mason was struggling with like, where do I run this? Like he wanted to reach kind of a low-income neighborhood on the west side of Greenville and couldn't find a facility there that was reliable. He could count on every week having. And I said, well, why don't you do it here? Like we've got accelerator space. We'd love to do it. So that worked out. We were close enough. But I told Mason, I think he had like 10 kids. I said, we've got space for 50 kids. Like, you're going to do this, we should like fill up the class. So we probably sent 10 emails and had like more than 300 kids enrolled in the next 24 hours. Like,
clearly in demand.
Clearly in demand. So, and actually, kind of some fruits of this project, the next building, a number of other people in the building. We had a gal here who was working for Analog Devices, and she said, oh, my company will donate some circuit boards. And so we started teaching electronics classes and coding classes. And I had like 4 or 5 nights a week here, and it was amazing. It brought the community together. It brought engineers out of the woodwork from BMW and Michelin, and which was great. And that kind of proof of concept for us doing it with kids kind of cemented the idea of, oh, we can do this with adults too. So really inside of the accelerator, we did this kind of completely philanthropic thing, like just giving back to kids. There was no economics. We didn't set up another entity. We just kind of did it. And then that kind of proved the point is, I think we can do this with adults. So later that same year, at the end of 2012, we decided to go ahead and start a code school, which that time it wasn't really known. There was a couple of people doing something similar in New York or San Francisco. And we just decided that our next accelerator class, we did a 3-month program with companies. We brought individuals and right alongside the companies and taught them how to code or design. So we did both of those the first time around. And then, you know, at graduation, we either paired them up with our own portfolio companies, or a couple of them got hired at BMW. It was interesting. It was a proof point for us. And from there, it really snowballed.
Well, that creates an entire pivot that ends up being Iron Guard, which is one of your largest successes. You've had a lot, but just an amazing story of helping the community, but then finding the pivot that's economically successful. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it really did change the business. We ended up spinning it out, taking the brand with it, rebranding the accelerator, and really those learnings of like coming in and kind of being a real benefit to the community is what drove our success. So we didn't go to New York or San Francisco. They weren't in the list of 25 cities we opened. We did kind of everywhere else, including we went to the United Kingdom and opened a couple campuses. But that aspect of coming in, we did kids programming in all those communities and really plugged into the ecosystem as a partner instead of kind of coming in as this like outside company just trying to feed off of us. We came and gave back first. And I think it's really what led to Iron Guard's success.
I love it. Such a good story. Thanks. So good to have you.